I'm going to show you a tool called Dogen, which is a next generation NoSQL database client. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is create a collection. I'm going to call it restaurants because they have a restaurants app that I'm building. So I'm going to go ahead and give this restaurant a name. As you can see, we can create our document here. We can add more fields if we want. Now this is like time consuming and error prone. So Dogen actually allows us a better way to do this. So we can actually just work with data as JSON. So as you can see here, it already recognizes that I already had this field. So it's marking it as gray, and these are the newly added fields. But it goes beyond that. If you notice, our data here has a specific structure to it, and I want all my restaurants to have the same structure. I essentially want them all to have a name, description, address, rating, and a menu. So if we visualize this a little bit better here, we can see that address has its own structure, and so does menu. If we were building an application, we might actually split these up into multiple classes or data models. And essentially that's what Dogen allows us to do. So let's get started and show how we could do this using Dogen. To model things in Dogen, we need to define our entities as blueprints. So the first thing we're going to do is create our Enum blueprint entity. And this one is to represent our menu category. So our categories have a main course. Okay, so that's our Enum. So I can go ahead and save it. Next, we're going to build embedded entities. So these are entities that live inside other entities. In our case, the first one is address. Next, we need object entities. So object entities are used to represent document level entities. In our case, it's restaurants. For description, I'm actually going to use Markdown since it gives us a little bit more visual formatting. We still have our address. For rating, I'm going to use the rating 5 stars flavor, which gives us rating stars. And we refer to our menu items. So for object entities, the next thing we need to do is provide a location for them. And this will allow Dogen to know where to find them. You can specify a different database ID if you have multiple databases. I'm just going to leave it as default. And then it's just the Firestore path. And I want it to show in the main menu. Okay, so we've created all our entities now. So now we just create a generation. Now we can continue to use Dogen. And in a few minutes, the app will let us know there's a new version available, and we can install that version. Okay, so our generation is complete, and we can go ahead and load it here in one click. And now our application has updated to the latest version, which includes our changes. So as you can see here, we now have a restaurants item in the main menu. And this is the same thing as clicking on restaurants collection here. Additionally, if you go into admin config, you now have the ability to configure these further. So I'm actually going to set up some additional validations for our items here. So I want to make the minimum price $25. And I could also specify a regular expression for the name, or I could specify a certain number of items that must be added to an array, for example. But for now, this is fine. The next thing that I want to do is I want to make main course the default. And I'm going to provide a default price as well of $25. So I can go ahead and save that. And now when I visit our restaurants collection, if we notice here, it's now referring to them as restaurants. It's no longer referring to them as documents. So that's the beauty of Dogen, that it allows us to manage data at different levels. So if we see here, we have a UI that's dedicated to managing restaurants. We configured description to be a markdown editor, and we have markdown capabilities here. We have the ability to manage our address. We can change the rating. And notice here, this indicator is going to change, and we can restore the value that it had originally from the database. But when we change it, you'll see that it updates the color to let us know that it is a valid value. In this case, you can see that this value needs attention. So you can tell because it's red and it has this border around it. So let's see what's going on here. So we gave it a minimum value of $25, and now this item is failing that validation. So as you can see, it's telling us that we need to make a change here. So I'm going to go ahead and make this 27. Now it's good to go. It's green. Similarly, you can see that we can go very deep into these nested structures. So this is about 3 or 4 levels in, and we still have the ability to modify these items with validations. Similarly, it's complaining here that there's file not found, and that's because our mock data was just a random path. So we can actually upload an image here, and I've already done that, so I can actually just select it from my bucket. And now we have a menu item that we just built. And this UI allows us to build exactly what we need. Additionally, we can go ahead and create new menu items here. And if you notice, it comes with the default price and category that we selected earlier. So these are some of the ways that Dogen allows us to work with data. This is also letting us know here that there's a problem. We could also paste in the actual JSON for a menu element. So I could copy one of my menu elements, perhaps from another document. Then I can go ahead and paste it in here. And now we have duplicated this item very easily. And, I don't need it, so I'm going to delete it. But it shows you the level of power and capability that Dogen brings to the table here. Additionally, you can see here exactly which fields have been modified before you save. So it's an added layer of safety and security, knowing exactly what's being changed. So I'm going to go ahead and accept this. If you notice, we can actually swap between the JSON default document view and the entity form view. And this allows us to go back and forth. So I could actually just change this to US, and when I go to the form, it's updated over here. So you can work with data essentially however you want. And whenever there's database changes, they will automatically be updated in the UI. And if you have an item that's already been changed, that item will not update. However, these items here, for example, that haven't been changed, if there is a database update, they will automatically change to reflect that. So I can go ahead and update the name here. I'm going to call it Rooftop Pizza with a View. And if we go back, you see there was an update externally notification, and we can see here that it's updated Rooftop Pizza with a View, and it's still showing that it's the default value. So these are some of the ways that Dogen can enhance the way that you build and manage applications. I really hope that it improves your workflows and your development experience. So that's it for today. Thank you.